Okay, a straight single shot, one of the things that's very important here is that I do not want to take a shot that's going to put me in bad position, an extended position. And what I mean by that is this, where there's no setup, I just literally just shoot in, he sprawls back and buries my head down into the mat. My hips are away from my chest and my arms are extended. I don't want to end up in that position, okay? I want to keep a good position. Anytime I take a shot, I want to be in, my head up, my back straight. Very important here, okay? Straight single. I want to make sure I clear this line of defense. Obviously, he's got a line of defense here, but to get through that, very simply, inside tie or from inside wrist. Okay, instead of grabbing outside, I'm going to grab inside. And literally, once I'm inside of my opponent, it's just going to be a drop step. I'm going to go knee down and drop straight in, head to the chest. Okay, I can either do it off of a wrist or I can do it off of an inside tie. All right. Once I'm in, again, I don't want to sit here. I want my back leg to come up, drive forward into my single. Okay, so I've got two setups here for a straight single. Inside wrist, I'm controlling inside position. I've taken this line of defense away. His leg is right in front of me, or from inside tie in this position. Okay, immediately, again, I take a short step, drop to my knee, wrap hand behind, head up into the chest, my head is up, my back is straight, drive leg comes up, drives into it. Key points to a snatch single. First, I want to lead the same side that he's leading. We call this toe-to-toe. He's leading this leg, I lead the same side as him. Next, I want to get him to react, to move his hands out of his way. Right now, there's a line of defense in front of me. In order to do that, the most simplest way is just a hand fake. I'm going to reach up and act like I'm going to tie his collar. As I reach up, he's going to react. His hands are going to come up immediately. Before I even touch him, I change my level and take a penetrating step outside his foot, and my head goes to his chest. Very important, I want to keep my head on the inside, my ear to his chest. The reason I want my ear to his chest is because it's going to straighten his upper body up. Okay? So as I step in here, hand fake, change level, penetrate, I take a step outside his foot, ear to the chest, I'm in on a single leg. Now, again, we're going to go over this one more time. Toe to toe, I'm going to do a hand fake to get him to react up. I change levels, penetrating step outside his foot, head to the chest. All right, the first shoulder post I'm going to show you is when your opponent, again, you're toe-to-toe. I'm going to attack his lead leg. I don't want to attack his back leg. It's too far back. Shoulder post is exactly what it means. I'm going to post, first of all, I'm going to post his shoulder just enough to straighten him up a little bit. All I want to do is get him out of his stance. He's in a good stance here. As I step toe-to-toe, I drive forward, push. Once his body comes up a little bit, I'm going to drop my knee to the inside of his foot, here to the mat. And as my knee is dropping, my hand drops right behind his leg. Real important here, I'm in good position again. My head My ear is on his chest, and my back is straight. Head up, back straight. From this position, I'm going to use my back leg, this is my drive leg, to continue driving forward and push him up into a single leg. Again, these are the points. Toe to toe this time. He's in a good stance. I want to get him straightened up a little bit. I'm going to post the same side he's leading with, the same shoulder, or the same side he's leading that leg. I post, raise him up just a little bit. As I post and bring his upper body up, I drop my knee to the inside, wrap hand around the back side, ear to the chest. Drive leg, drive forward. There's very little risk in this next shoulder post. This time, instead of starting toe to toe on a single leg, I'm actually going to start opposite foot forward. This one's a little, it's disguised better because he may think I'm shooting a high crotch or a fireman's going cross body, going opposite. But instead, I'm going to still work for a single leg here. I do not want this leg this time. I actually want his back leg. I'm going to attack his back leg on this particular post single. What I'm going to do, in order to get to that leg and get that leg forward, I'm going to actually post. He's in a good stance here. I'm going to post this shoulder and drive him backwards so that he takes a step with that foot. Now, this becomes his lead leg. As I drive him and he steps back, I'm right back into my same position again here. This hand, the opposite hand, as I'm stepping forward, is going to drop to the back of the leg, head to the chest, into my single leg. It's very low risk because I'm not actually penetrating and taking a drop step or getting underneath my opponent. I'm going to stay on my feet on this shot. Okay? Again, I'm leading the opposite leg. I'm going to post the shoulder of the leg that he's leading to drive him backwards. I'm going to drive hard into him because I want him to step this leg back. As he drives back or falls back, I step in, head to the chest, and attack the leg, wrap up a single leg. The best position for a single leg is a position where I'm attacking my opponent from an angle. After I've gotten in on a single leg, in this position, I want to be in a position that I am at an angle to my opponent. In order to get to that position, all I'm going to do is turn my body and face the same direction as my opponent. As I turn and face the same direction, my inside leg steps back towards his foot. Now I'm at an angle here. I'm in a position to score here. And it makes it a lot easier for myself. As opposed to being in a single leg position where I'm actually facing my opponent. This is a position that allows him to fight here. He's facing me. He can pull up on my arms. He can work my head in this position, stuff my head. There's a lot of things that he can do from here. In order to take that away from him, all I'm going to do is position my body facing in the same direction as him. I'm going to take a little step here, take a big step with my back leg, and turn my body and face the same direction. Once I'm facing the same direction, I should be able to look down at our feet, and all three of our feet should be facing and pointing in the same direction. All right? After this, one of the things I really need to focus on here is my hand position. Anytime I'm in on a single leg, I want my wrap hand on top in a butterfly grip. You hide your thumbs palm to palm and wrap your fingers over your thumb in a butterfly position. Okay? The reason I want palm down, the wrap hand palm down, if I have the other palm up, he can pull my hand off and I cannot maintain that grip if I have the wrong hand on top. So I want my wrap hand on top. If he pulls up now, he's just tightening it, which is good for me actually. All right, so I've got good position here. I've got wrap hand on top. Now I want to position myself to put pressure on his thigh. The first point of pressure is with my shoulder, where I'm actually pushing down into his thigh. The second point is where my hands are on his leg. I want my hands locked above his knee on his thigh here in this position. So literally his leg is in there and I'm just pinching it between my bicep and my forearm here, okay, in this position. I don't want to be below the leg. I don't have as much pressure. I want to be above the knee, right on his thigh. The last point is head pressure. As I get this position, I'm going to push back here in this position, keeping him off balance. And this is a very unusual position for him. He really has no fight here whatsoever. Okay? So again, the best position that I have found, when I am in on a single leg, instead of facing my opponent here and pinching, I'm going to actually open my body up facing the same direction as my opponent. All three of our feet are facing the same direction. My wrap hand, butterfly grip, is on top. Wrap hand on top for a reason. If my opposite hand is on top, you can pull it off. I want my wrap hand on top. I position my shoulder on his thigh. I position my hands above his knees, and I squeeze tight here, putting a lot of pressure down on his thigh. I have so much pressure here, if I want, I could lift my inside foot and put even more pressure on him. Last point is head position. Taking your head, putting it high on his chest in this position here. It's very important when finishing a single leg to try to finish it without breaking your hands. You got to remember, I've got this guy's leg up. I want to do everything I possibly can or necessary to get him down to the mat without breaking my hands. From our position, our single leg position, we have positioned ourselves now in a position to do a chain of 3 finishes. And if one doesn't work, I immediately go into the second. If the second doesn't work, I can go straight into the third. Again, whatever necessary. If I finish on my first attempt, that's all that's necessary to finish the shot. I'm in good position here now to do what we call trip, dump, pit. Okay, on the trip, I am in position now to take a little step with my back leg and come forward and trip the outside of his foot. Real important here on the trip, I want heel down, toe up. Okay, heel down, toe up. Very unusual position. It feels weird when you first start doing it, but I want my heel down and my toe up because his natural reaction is going to be to try to jump over my foot. If my toe is up, it's much harder for him to jump over. Whereas if my toe is down, it's a lot easier for him to jump over. Okay? And so my trip looks like this. From this position, heel down, toe up, I take a jab step, take a big step, heel down, toe up. As he falls, limp arm out. He falls first. Do not fall with your opponent. Once he hits the mat, then you can cover. Okay? Again, back in our single leg position, the first attempt is going to be to trip my opponent. Little jab step with my back leg, one big step, heel down, toe up to get him to trip. Now, if he does jump over my foot, I have now extended his center of gravity. I'm in position here to dump him. I'm going to take my back leg. I'm going to take a step in and pigeon toe my foot in as much as I possibly can because I want to get a nice swing and stay tight with my circle to get him to dump. I'm going to take a pigeon toe step in. I'm going to turn head inside. Very important. I want to try to keep my head inside. I'm going to take a back step with my other foot and set him on the mat. Up to this point, I've still not broken my hands. Back in our single leg position. I've attempted a trip, jab step, big step. He jumps over the top. I have now taken a pigeon toe outside foot, my back foot comes here. I'm going to step back with this one and down to the mat. So trip, dump. The last part of this is the pit, okay? Let's come this way a little bit. Trip, he jumps over it, I go to dump, and he runs in a circle, I can't get him going. Now, what's happening here, as I'm circling him, he's going away from his foot. This is going to give me the opportunity now to release my hands. My hand that's on the inside is going to go down to the heel, and I'm going to pit his foot, okay? So again, as I'm circling him on my dump, here, he goes away, I come down to the heel, pit it. Now, the pit, very important here. I want this foot as high in my armpit as I can, pinching down, and I want my fist as high as I possibly can on my sternum. There is no room in here for his foot to come out. If he turns to bail out of me, again, it's in there very tight. Come back up. So, this is my pitted position. The three all together. I'm in my single leg position. Trip, he jumps over it. Dump, he runs in a circle, spins out into a pit.